Cornerstone, my latest collaboration with Flagship, releases today, and in preparation for this exciting release, we're going to once again go over all the details and answer some of your questions on this awesome new product. What is happening, guys? Mike here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking all about Cornerstone. It is my goal to have every question that I could think of, or one that I got from you, answered by the end of this video. But before we start, I want to briefly mention that my wardrobe today here was provided by the fine folks at Trendy Butler. Now, this is a totally unpaid feature. It's nothing like, I'm not paid to say anything for them, and this is something that I've been doing for a long time now, but as usual, they sent me a box with this awesome outfit in it, and this is a service I do highly recommend. I've used them now for a couple years now, maybe even close to 3 years now. It's been a really long time though, and their stylists are great at choosing outfits like this one here. This is not something that I would have pulled off the shelf myself, to be honest, but they sent it. I tried it on. I actually think it looks pretty good, and that's my favorite part about this service, is that they kind of get you to branch out a little bit with some of their choices. So if you'd like a box totally set up for you, there will be a link in the description there for you to check it out yourself. Now though, let's talk about Cornerstone. Let's get into it here, and I think the best thing to do here is to just start at the beginning. And that, of course, is the question, what is this? What is this product? I've been asked several times this week since we released the video last week, what the heck is this? And guys, I know it's tough. I know that it's tough because when you see this product and you see what it does, it's like two different things. I mean, it's really hard to kind of put things together based on what it looks like and what we're saying it does. And I totally get that, because I mean, when I first saw it, it was hard for me to kind of wrap my head around like what it actually turned into based on where it started. So, I mean, right now I'm calling it a pre-styling serum, but visibly it looks like a gel. And again, I get that why that's confusing, because it does look like a gel. I mean, consistency wise, even feeling, I mean, it feels very much like a gel, but this is not a gel. That's the biggest thing I want to get across to you, that what it looks like and what it is two different things. And a simple straight answer to that is it's a pre-styler. That's essentially what we designed it for. It is a little bit more than that though. I feel like at its core it's a pre-styler, but I actually feel like this is an enhancement product. It's a little bit hard to label it. That's why I'm calling it a pre-styling serum, because at its core that's what it is. But what I also feel like this does is it just enhances everything that it touches, meaning it'll enhance your hairstyle. Obviously, it's a styling product. It'll enhance your hairstyle, but it works in conjunction with so many different things, and we'll talk about that later here in this video, but it just goes with so many different things that it's just an all-around enhancement product. So it's kind of hard to label it as one thing, but I'll explain more as we go along. We don't have to do it all right this second. So no, this is not basically a gel. That's the thing that I saw. They're like, so it's basically a gel. No, it's not basically a gel. Like, I get that it looks like it, but it's not. And no, it's not like, you get a gel pomade. Well, can I just pre-style with a gel pomade and have the same thing? No, that's not what I'm saying here either. The reasoning that it does and looks the way it is very specific. You see, the reason it looks the way it does is because this actually started out as a pre-style spray. It's got a lot of water in it. And that, along with the other ingredients that bind it together with the water, is what makes it look and feel a little bit like a gel. But there's also a performance method to that. See, the idea is there's water and there's additives, which is a word for extra stuff, basically. And it's that extra stuff that, including oil, that give it things like hold. So you have your water and you have your extra stuff, your additives, and then the water actually works to carry those additives into your hair, makes it slick, makes it enter your hair very easily. And then when you blow dry, the water evaporates out, leaving the hold there, leaving those additives there in your hair, and that's where the hold comes from, and that's where everything that you get from the product performance-wise, that's where it comes from, and that's the major difference between this and a regular gel, because a regular gel, the point of it is to stick around, to harden up, to lock your hair in place and stay there. The moisture is constant, and that's what brings about that hardening, and it sticks around. That's basically what you want with a gel. That is not what you get with this, and that's why they're so different. While we're on the subject of ingredients though, let's go ahead and move into those and answer some questions there. Here is actually the list of ingredients present in this product. There is 4 things I want to quickly point out there. The first being is that there's no waxes present in the formula. This is on purpose because it allows the product to give off the much needed hold. You know, if it didn't have hold, it really wouldn't be anything. So it allows to give the product the hold that we want and allow it to combine with any post styler. This also qualifies the product as vegan too. So if you're someone that looks for vegan products, this does qualify as that because we don't use any type of waxes or anything like that. The second thing though that I do want to quickly point out is the presence of the grapeseed oil. This is added in there to, along with the other things. Like, we didn't really need an oil in there, to be honest, but we did want to add one in there to add in just a tiny bit of nourishment and prevent the ingredients from that are providing you hold. The ingredients that are providing hold, we wanted to prevent those ingredients from drying out the hair. So that's really important. We didn't want it to, you know, dry out your hair, obviously. The third thing though that I want to make mention of is heat protection. I was already asked this. I've asked a couple times actually if this had a heat protectant since it's a pre-styling product designed to be used with a blow dryer. Quick answer, no it does not. Why doesn't it? Well, we decided to just not mess with it. I mean, my first thought, honestly, was to put kind of like this imaginary heat protectant in there, like pretend there's a heat protectant in there so that you can have protection against an imaginary problem. Heat protection in itself is a joke. Drying with a blow dryer will not damage your hair. I've said this a million times. There's no other way for me to I've tried to say it nice. I've tried to say it direct. Let's just be real with one another. That is it. It's not going to hurt anything. You're totally fine. And as the great Kevin Bacon once said in A Few Good Men, those are the facts.
And they are undisputed.
The last thing I did want to point out, ingredient-wise, the last thing I wanted to point out there is the lack of texture. There is no clays in the ingredient list. This is done on purpose, and the reason for that is, one, to differentiate it from things like black water, for example, which we will go over comparisons. Don't worry, we are going to talk about that. But there's no clays in there. So texture is not a feature that was intended for Cornerstone, but we will cover that again more in comparisons and features during performance, which we are starting now. So for performance is a bit different on this one, obviously. Pretty much every person that I've ever spoken to that has ever tried this product has told me that they did not expect this product to produce the results that it does. I am, of course, going to show you how I use it and how I think it works best, and obviously this is a pre-styler, so that's where I'm going to start, and that's what you're actually going to see here. Starting, of course, with damp hair, and this is also where we're going to talk about pump size, pump number specifically, but starting with damp hair, like usual, and what I'm using here, starting off with the pre-styling scenario, I'm using for my thick hair 1.5 pumps. And once you get that into your hand, it's just as simple as it's ever been with any other pre-styling product. You work it through your hands, you work it through your hair. Here is those results for my hair. You see, we got volume, hold, and most importantly, no gel attributes, no hardening, no greasy feel, none of that pomade-ish feel. It's very natural, it's lightweight, yet it's full of hold. It actually holds it nicely in place, but it's lightweight enough to encourage lots of volume. When it comes to texture, again, it doesn't really have any, and that's from the ingredients itself. That's completely done on purpose, but it will work with your hair's natural texture, which you're seeing in my hair right now. Now, what you do from here is totally your call. Wade and I have tried this with so many products. I mean, it's unbelievable what this works with, honestly. Pomades, oil-based and water-based, by the way, clays, matte paste, waxes, pre-stylers, post-stylers, I mean, tonics. It works with all kinds of stuff, and what we and our testers have found is that this product is pretty much like a true chameleon, which means it just works with pretty much whatever you throw at it, which before now, I recommended using like-minded pre- and post-stylers. We talked about it in my pre-styling video. So if I pre-styled with a clay, I post-styled with a clay, or, you know, like-minded stuff. And here, with this thing, all that's out the window because you can use it with whatever you want. I mean, here's a style I did yesterday, for example, using the Dauntless matte paste over top the Cornerstone pre-styler. And you can see I'm adding in the matte paste here, and it really doesn't affect the matte paste at all as far as look and finish goes, and it doesn't inhibit the volume, and it really builds off that volume that the matte paste already produces. It works alongside it. The biggest place that it is influencing it is that hold. It's adding in more hold. It's making the product even higher holding without weighing it down and inhibiting the product's natural attributes like matte finish, texture, volume, things like that. And all of that results in a killer end style, which you can see here. And then with the increase in hold, obviously you have an increase of endurance. So take a look at that here too. You can see the volume at the end of the day. This is a full day, by the way. It looks even better. The volume, it's gone up even more. And really just the entire style, in my opinion, looks awesome, especially when you consider it's been a full day. Now, I'm sorry I'm moving through this pretty quickly, but you know, it's already going to be a long video. But another combo that I specifically like is the Cornerstone and my wax cream. Now, of course, I'm not trying to hype stuff and, you know, do all that, but I do, after using it several times, I got a strong gut feeling that that is going to be one of just the best combos that I will have put together this year, hands down, is the Cornerstone and the Dauntless wax cream. I think you guys are going to absolutely love that. Lastly, for this section, let's talk about using the Cornerstone as a post styler. I think that's a natural question to ask, and it's one I've been asked, and it's very easy to answer. The answer is yes, you can use this as a post styler, but it just depends on how you use it. I think that's the deal here with this one. If you use it on damp or wet hair and not as a pre-styler, just, you know, damp or wet hair and throw it in there, it will kind of harden up depending on how wet your hair is. And no, that's not just this product. That's very common for all types of products. If you apply it to hair that's too wet, it hardens up. I see it all the time. If you're an air dryer, on the other hand, you know, I'm talking you guys that don't like to blow dry. If you are air dryers, then yes, this will work, but obviously the results will be turned down just slightly because the blow dryer really does encourage some of the results that you see. So you can use it and air dry, just expect the results to be just slightly turned down just a little bit. The final scenario though that I want to bring up is applying this as a post styler after you've pre-styled. So pre and post styling with this, in other words. This will work. I've actually tried this several times and I was very surprised with the results. I thought it was going to be too light, honestly, to use, but it does work very well because you've already set the foundation in the pre-style phase. So you just basically add this in there. I'm actually wearing it in my hair right now, just nothing but this pre and post. And what you get is very easy application. Obviously, it's very, you know, wet when you apply it, but it immediately goes to work, providing that hold, providing just ease of use. You can just comb it through real quick, get your hair nice and shaped the way you want, and then it just, you know, it starts to evaporate pretty much, you know, within like 30 minutes. It'll, any remaining water will evaporate, and then, you know, you're good to go. Now though, let's quickly move into comparisons before we jump into your questions from Instagram. And I'm gonna be honest here with you guys, comparisons, they're quite easy with this one because I really don't have any, and I know how that sounds. Believe me, I know it sounds like I'm trying to just make it sound more unique than it is, but guys, you really can't compare this to Blackwater. It doesn't have clays, for crying out loud. It doesn't have clays, it doesn't have texture, things like that. So you can't compare it to Enigma or the Devil for those same reasons. I mean, you cannot compare it to all three of those when it's not dry. It's not a dry clay pre-styling matte paste type product. I mean, the only comparable attribute that it has is the fact that it's a pre-styler. So that's not enough to really give you an idea about performance. So why even bother with the comparison? That's where I'm at. But that is my thoughts on the comparisons. Now let's get into your questions on Instagram. See, what I did recently was I posted on Instagram, which you should all be following me on, by the way. I posted on there and asked you guys to submit your questions that I could answer here in the video. So let's go through a couple of these real quick. Our first one says, would you consider this as a standalone product? Quick answer is yes. We've already gone over this. Yes, you could use this as a standalone product depending on your hair type and preferences. It really just depends on if you need a certain level of hold or not. That's really the short answer on that. Next question is, does it smooth the hair? Yes, it does a little bit. It's not as nourishing as a full-on tonic, but with that grapeseed oil in there, it does smooth the hair and make it feel much more natural. It does smooth it a little bit, not like super super like heavy smoothing or nourishing, but you will feel it smoothing somewhat. Next question here is, will it come to Germany to buy? Yes. We are working with wholesalers in different countries, so you guys don't have to pay heavy shipping and import tags and things like that. And I will, when I get the list, they're still being made, but when I get the list of where everywhere in every country it's going to be, I will post it for you guys to see. All right, our next question here is just a really good one. What's Cornerstone's margin of error, i.e. one too many pumps? That is a great question. It's actually going to depend on your preferences and your hair. This is not going to be like Enigma, for example, where if you use one too many pumps, it just like really gunks up your hair. I mean, obviously, if you use like 8 or 9 pumps, it's probably going to make your hair feel like there's a lot in it, and it's going to probably not be preferable. But I do think you have a much wider open window as far as, you know, using 2 pumps, 3 pumps. It increases with hold with every pump, so you're going to quickly find out how much you need. You know, it's very, but it's not going to punish you if you use too much. It's a lot more forgiving than some of these other pumping products that we've seen lately. Our last question here, which is another good one. This is not a limited edition product, correct? You are correct. This is not a limited edition product. It is a permanent offering from Flagship and myself. And we'll talk about where you can get it here as we finish the video. We're going to go over that briefly here. But in regards to price and where you can get it, this is the last thing before we close this out. We are offering it on both the Flagship and the Dauntless shop. If you are ordering it from my site, that's just simply set up for your convenience. What I'm going to do is basically assemble your order at dauntlessgrooming.com, and I'm going to send it over to Flagship for fulfillment. So just know that if you do buy from dauntlessgrooming.com, your order will come from Flagship. Obviously, if you have issues or something like that, you can email me. I will take care of you just like normal. But for people that are used to getting, you know, really quick one package from me, just know that I'll continue to send your Dauntless stuff, but the Cornerstone will actually come from Flagship, and they're going to be shipping very quickly as well. Also, now in regards to that shipping, we actually did have to make one small change to what was previously announced, and it has to do with the price and shipping. When we first announced this product, we said it was $15 for 2 ounces. Obviously, it is still 2 ounces, but when we were setting up the site, we noticed that there were some small issues with shipping. Now, shipping this thing really isn't that much, at least it shouldn't be anyway, and we didn't want you guys to get charged more for shipping than it really costs. Obviously, that's never what we do. But we noticed that, especially in my shop, if you were like adding this in combination with a Dauntless product, say you bought a wax cream and a Cornerstone, you'd get charged one fee. And then when it went over to Flagship, you were charged another fee. So it was because there's 2 separate boxes at that point, but you're only making one order, if that makes sense. And then on the other side, if you just ordered from Flagship, we noticed that it, like say you bought one of these in a Blackwater, it would add in extra shipping just based on the ounces, but the overall box weight wouldn't actually qualify for more shipping, if that makes sense. So essentially, in some scenarios, you would get charged more for shipping than you should. So what we ended up doing was changing the price to $16 with no shipping. And that also takes care of any other issues, like if you order it alongside a wax cream, you'll only pay for shipping with the wax cream. You won't get any extra shipping for the Cornerstone. So $16, no shipping in the United States. International, it's a different story, unfortunately, because they still charge, as you know, between like 16 and 20 bucks to ship this thing. But that's where we are gonna work with the international wholesale distributors. We already have Canada on board. I know we have Mocher on board. We've got Spread Style in Germany. We're working on a bunch of different people, Australia. So we're working with a bunch of people as quickly as possible, and I will put together a list when I have all of those names for you so you can know where you can get this for the best shipping price possible. I think that pretty much covers everything. Cornerstone is available at both my shop and the Flagship shop starting Friday, April 3rd, which is today. I just don't know at what point I'm going to be able to get this video out because it's taking forever. I do want to invite you, as always, to like this video. Drop me a comment if there's a question I didn't cover in the video. I'll get back to you. Make sure you do, though, like the video, and if you haven't yet subscribed, it's a huge deal for me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on those bell notifications so you can get notified when I have new content coming out, because I do every week. I got multiple videos coming out, so you want to get notified when those come out. Lastly, I will leave you with an answer to one final question that I've been asked, and it's a good one. It said, if this product, if Cornerstone, was not designed for texture, then are you coming out with a pre-styler that has everything Cornerstone has, but is designed for texture? And, you know, it's a really good question, and all I can tell you is you never know what's in the cards for the future.